Hello everyone, this is Kashal from the Sophos community, and today we'll be going over how to recover a device from a tamper-protected state. This video will cover steps relevant for devices managed from Sophos Central. If you're looking for steps for Sophos Enterprise Console managed clients, check the links in the description for the video that's relevant to your environment. We'll demonstrate how to disable tamper protection using the command line. Then we'll walk through the recovery steps for devices using current and legacy operating systems. We'll first take a look at using the command line to disable tamper protection. This can be useful for scripting or for situations where interacting with the Sophos UI does not disable tamper protection. If you know the tamper protection passcode for a device, but entering the code in the UI does not work, try using the following steps. Open command prompt as an administrator. Change directory to C, Program Files, Sophos, Endpoint Defense, and run the following command: sedcli.exe space dash override tp off, followed by the passcode. You can also run the command with the -h switch to get help on the CLI options. Relevant documentation going into further detail will be in the video description. Moving on to the recovery steps, for Windows 10 or 11, Windows Server 2012, 2016, and 2019 that are running Core Agent 2.15.4 or later, the following steps will apply. In this video, we'll be using Windows 10. We'll first go to the Windows Settings menu and select Update and Security. Click Recovery in the left-hand tab, and under Advanced Startup, select Restart Now. Once the restart occurs, you'll select Troubleshoot, Advanced Options, and Command Prompt. The device will restart again, and you'll need to select an account with administrator access. We'll get logged in here, and Command Prompt will now open. Type C:, and hit Enter. Next, type dir or dir. If this doesn't show you the operating system folders, you can use the command diskpart and list volume to determine what drive letter your system drive is. On my test device, we'll need to go to the D drive. We can confirm this is the correct one by running dir once again. Type cd Windows System32 drivers and press enter. We'll rename the endpoint defense driver by typing ren space sophosed.sys space sophosed.sys.old and press enter. Type exit and press enter once again, and now with the main menu, we'll select continue to boot to Windows. Now that we're back in the normal Windows environment, we'll log in and open the registry editor. Back up the registry as a precautionary measure. We always recommend doing this before making any modifications to the registry. Right-click on Computer and select Export. I like to name the backup after the date or time it was taken. We'll be navigating through the registry for many of these steps. I recommend using the arrow keys as well as the keyboard to get to relevant sections faster. For example, pressing S on the keyboard will take you to the entries within the section that begin with the letter S. Go to HKey Local Machine, System, Current Control Set, Services, and Sophos MCS Agent. Open the entry named Start and set the Value Data field to 4. Next, we'll go to SAV Service in the same services location and open the Start entry here and set the Value Data field to 4. We'll do the same thing under Sophos Auto Update Service. Now we'll go back to the root of the registry and navigate to HKey Local Machine, System, Current Control Set, Services, Sophos Endpoint Defense, Tamper Protection, and Services. And under every subkey in this location, set the value data of Protected to 0. Go to the config folder and set the value data of SAV enabled and SED enabled to 0. Lastly, we'll change the following value: This will depend on whether you have a 32 or 64-bit OS. For 64-bit, we'll go to HKey Local Machine, Software, WoW 6432 Node, Sophos, SAV Service, and Tamper Protection. And for 32-bit machines, that would be HKey Local Machine, Software, Sophos, SAV Service, and Tamper Protection. Set the value data field of enabled to 0. Restart the endpoint or server to apply the changes and turn off tamper protection. This section will cover legacy OSs, including Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 systems. For this video, we'll be using Windows 7. Turn on or restart the endpoint or server. Press F8 while the system is powering on to open Advanced Boot Options. Select Repair Your Computer, and at the System Recovery Options screen, select a language and keyboard input method and click Next. Select a local administrative account to sign in and click OK. Under System Recovery Options, click Command Prompt. Authenticate with administrator credentials and the command prompt will now open. Type D: and press Enter. I recommend running the dir or dir command to ensure you're in the operating system drive. You can also use the commands diskpart and list volume to display the available volumes. Next, we'll type cd windows system32 drivers and press Enter. Type ren space sophosed.sys space sophosed.sys.old and press Enter. Type exit and press Enter once again, and click Restart. Once back in the Windows environment, we'll get signed in and open the registry editor. Back up the registry as a precautionary measure. We always recommend doing this before making any modifications to the registry. Right-click on Computer and select Export. I like to name the file after the date or time on which the backup is taken. Next, we'll go to HKey Local Machine, System, Current Control Set, Services, and Sophos MCS Agent. Here we'll set the value data field of Start to 4. Next, we'll go to Sophos Endpoint Defense in the same location, and under Tamper Protection, Config, set the value data field of SAV enabled and SED enabled to 0. Lastly, set the value data of enabled to 0 in the following registry location. This will vary depending on whether your operating system is 64 or 32-bit. For 64-bit, we'll go to HKey Local Machine, Software, WoW 6432 Node, Sophos, SAV Service, Tamper Protection. And if you're using a 32-bit machine, you'll need to navigate to HKey Local Machine, Software, Sophos, SAV Service, and Tamper Protection. Set the value data field of enabled to 0. Once completed, restart the endpoint or server in normal mode to complete setting Enhanced Tamper Protection to off. That covers the two different scenarios you're likely to encounter when recovering a device from a tamper-protected state specific to Sophos Central. There is one additional set of steps relevant for Core Agent 2.10.8 and earlier, but the process involves booting the affected device into safe mode instead of the Windows recovery environment, after which the steps are much the same in making registry changes. A link that details these steps can be found in the video description below. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out. If you found it useful, be sure to hit the thumbs up button on TechVids or on YouTube, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on the community forums at community.sophos.com.